The Cantina Crew are back together to discuss the final 4 issues of the Battle for Jakku comic series entitled Star Wars: Battle for Jakku: The Last Stand. After covering the comics and chatting about the definitive end of the Galactic Civil War, we talk the Ryan Gosling casting news and share our picks for who we would like to see play the next Han Solo type character in a Star Wars feature-length film. Let's go. To another week of Cantina Chronicles. I am Ben. I am joined with Grant. He is back this week. How's it going?
Back on the show.
All right, and Adam. We talked to him last week and most weeks. All weeks.
We got a full team.
Full team.
I had to gather with the rebellion last week. You know, we had to
then he
face the Empire for one last stand. You know,
sure.
I feel like that's now I'm back, and so I can pod. I got to gather in secret and discuss plans.
You went to the wrong cantina.
I was gonna say it sounds like he went to the wrong cantina.
I was cantina crawling on Chandrila. I was just trying to make up an excuse.
One too many fizzly whizzlies or whatever those things are called.
I mean, we can jump into it, but I do have some news for this week.
Oh, let's go.
My news, my beat is often theme park news. So I have kind of a depressing amount of news that just dropped about like 3 hours ago. So remember that Star Wars hotel that really, really failed horribly? My hope and dreams were going to be that they were just going to kind of open it as a Star Wars hotel and not do the whole themed experience. They're turning it into office space.
Oh my gosh!
Well, which is wild.
Star Wars themed office space, though?
No, I think they're gutting it and making it into office space, which is like and this is the thing that I was laughing about, for the Imagineers, like Imagineering offices, who are the people who come up with the rides and the themed hotels. Doesn't that seem like a curse to put your offices in the thing that you failed, like you lost the most money on of anything in the history of the park?
To sit here. I want you to sit here and think about
what you did. Just anyway, it's not big news, but I was just chuckling when I read that. And,
that is dark, bro.
Yeah.
That's somewhat tragic. I mean, I really wanted to go there.
I know. I was really hoping they'd bring it back in some manner.
Scale down the event.
Exactly.
All I need are the stupid LED panels and a bar, and that's it. That's all I need.
You could do, like, if you wanted to, like, once a month, you block out 3 days and you do the full experience, really expensive for 3 days. Yeah. And then the other 28 days, it's just a regular hotel with the bar and some limited activities. Yeah. Seems like a no-brainer.
Maybe you put in a screening and you can like watch Star Wars. Just like drop in. You can take the kids in there. There's concessions, and you like. Yeah, I don't know, and it's like it doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
I mean, I will always say the fact that the three of us who have a Star Wars podcast forever of the right age bracket and financially okay, not rolling it, but probably could have swung it. None of us went there or even really thought about pulling the trigger to go down there.
It was above my willingness to pay, as some of my dear colleagues would say. Yeah. It just was like for the amount of money I could go to Europe and have an amazing time for 10 days. Yeah. I could go anywhere really in the world for 10 days. And
I like being out in nature as well. Like like the tropics, nature. And then, but like that did look appealing. And I did like the idea of, I think what was kind of strange or odd to me was that you almost like, I guess you're stuck there and you have to take part in a narrative essentially. That's like,
you
have to take part in the narrative.
You could sit in the bar, like you don't have to, but like there's shows and stuff. But you're also not getting your money worth if you don't, right? Because like
$1,500,
so like
we would definitely do it. Yeah,
but that also makes me a little like I all for it. I'm not hating on like cosplayers, things like that. That just hits my most uncomfortable zone.
Yeah,
for me of like having to like do that. So that's also why I never went. But yeah, it's also.
What if you could book it with like a large enough party that like it was all people?
If I went down with you guys, it'd be fine, right? Like, I would get into, and I know that would fall off of my anxiety, which is what a lot of people talked about. Had similar feelings, and after like being there for 6 hours, like the people who are working there are really good at like reading you and getting you involved, but not being like annoying and pushy.
Yeah.
And and recommending things that you could go do based on kind of their reading of your personality a little bit. But again, the other thing that's I don't think we can discount is just the role that COVID played, not to like talk about depressing stuff, but like that came out post-COVID, but not that far post-COVID. And it's like, hey, do you want to go into a small box with a lot of other people with no windows? And I'm like, no, I really don't. Now it'd be fine, but no. At that point, I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah.
Well, there could have been good air circulation.
I'm sure it was.
The air
great air and purifiers. I'm sure it was. I'm sure because it's Disney. They don't want people getting sick.
Like 60. How cold do you think it is in a starship in Star Wars? Because everyone
up on Galactic Cruiser, they keep it a moist 80.
That's humid, right? That's humid. That's like humid. That's tropical. Yeah.
What's it like in the Millennium Falcon? Like, I'm guessing like a sort of
it's like 62 degrees in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, 62. like it's the
I'm
temperature.
Sorry, it's a little cold and Han's a little like punchy because it's a little cold.
Yeah. It's the temperature of my living room when I forgot to when like the Nest has decided that it's not going to turn on heat today for whatever reason. I wander downstairs. I'm like, ooh, got to throw on a sweater. Yeah,
you do that. Is in Galaxy too, because like. Oh, you see young Anakin, right, in the Nubian cruiser, and that thing is first class.
Yeah.
And, Padme is like, oh, space is cold, bro. Like,
yeah.
And you feel that. You're like, oh, yeah, I bet it's really cold.
Yeah. Speaking of Han Solo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I did want to chime in on something of recent news, sort of headline news making the rounds, which is that Sean Levy's project has sort of getting the put on the fast track with Ryan Gosling attached, and there's sort of already a package that's being talked about in the trades, which is like very cool, and like that just means that it's possibly real, like there's
and close to going,
close to going, and it's funny that this is all happening like a week after we on this pod had the epiphany that like. The secret sauce or the X factor of Star Wars is Han Solo. Is Harrison Ford's performance, the cynic, disenfranchised, scoundrel character that's sort of like is just this other viewpoint or vantage on the plot that's just so brilliant. And and I feel like that's sort of the thing that we all, I think, would like to see in Star Wars again. And Ryan Gosling seems like maybe that's the attempt or that's the intention, because I feel like he's an easy fit for that with Blade Runner and there's other performances. Drive is like a Han Solo character. Like there's so many performances that like you can easily see start to fit in sort of a scoundrel character that of a generation, right? That Han Solo is for the original trilogy. And I was just thinking to myself, is this the Han Solo of our time? And at the end of the episode, I was hoping that we could all like cast maybe our idea of who the Han Solo of our time is after we talk comics. Maybe.
Do you want to wait?
Do you want to wait?
I don't know. Like
I got
is this the best teaser we've ever had?
My brain. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys, if you guys should go first though, because I'm just bringing it up and I'm not even thinking. I'm really not in the casting space right now, but go for it.
All right, let's wait.
Yeah.
I like your idea. Let's wait. We'll actually do a teaser for
let it simmer. Let the audience simmer with it too.
Now we cannot forget we set this up.
Yeah. No.
Remind me in 2 hours.
In an hour and a half. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, no, I love that. We'll get deeper into that conversation then, because obviously Adam and I talked about that a lot last week with Gauze. And I'm curious to get deeper into like you obviously feel like there's a better choice. So we'll go into
I don't know if there's a better choice. I really I hope it's not obvious that I feel that way. It's just more that I don't know. Like it's interesting because Harrison Ford is such a unique actor and delivers such a sardonic sort of performance that it's just going to be that's almost what I want to see again. I want to see someone who's causing friction constantly with all the characters.
The other thing is how
Jude.
What's that? Jude, like
I was going to say, I mean, this was the conversation.
Did a great job.
On.
Yeah.
So I think so too. I mean, that's what spawned this conversation was like, oh yeah, that's the missing sauce, right? Is the scoundrel in the cockpit. Yeah.
100%.
With his own agenda.
Yeah, his own agenda. It's like a B or C plot. It's like not like, but then it ties back to the A plot. Like, it's like,
heart of gold, but also a scoundrel. Like the thing is too, is just like, and I don't want to like Ryan Gosling is like my age, plus a couple of years. He's not, I think he's like 47, 48. And not for nothing, like Harrison Ford, how old was he when Star Wars? Was he 35?
I think it was 33,
35.
34.
Yeah, something around there.
I think it's 35. You're right. He was a little older.
Mid-30s.
I mean, I will say 1977, 36 is today's 47 for actors. So like Ryan Gosling looks pretty good, like even better than Harrison Ford. But like I feel like it would be good to, and we talk more about this, getting not like a young person, but someone in their like late 20s, early 30s, someone who can grow with it a little bit, because some of the stuff that happens when they cast individuals in their 40s, like suddenly they're 60, like suddenly they're like,
they fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Woody Harrelson was like an older scoundrel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think they tried to de-age him a little bit with the weird fake hair, but like,
I know.
Okay.
They always like to do that.
And Timothy Oliphant was,
he's
ready.
Great.
So they've already utilized Timothy Oliphant, who's perfect for that role today, for this day and age.
Yeah, he would be perfect for it. I mean,
it's like
I've got some ideas. Let's tease it.
Yeah. Let's tease it. All right,
we'll save it.
Go.
We'll save it.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to get into final last stand? Oh, I'm over Billy Bob. I used to love it so much.
Are you? We need to talk about that. That's the after show.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
I'm Billy Bobbed out. He doesn't get to be in my Star Wars.
No, please do not do that. Yeah.
Wow.
Last Stand. We want to talk about this. This is a little brief overview of this. Essentially, the plot of Last Stand is that Gerhard is gone rogue. Adelhard is gone.
Sorry.
Adelhard has gone rogue element, where he's just suddenly only in it for himself and wants to. All the factions are converging on Jakku at this point. He wants to destroy both the rebellion and the empire that shunned him because reasons. And then we're finding other connections. Rin, Luke's friend and cohort for the past while's father, turns out to be Tommaso Gasp, who is one of the leaders of the Kijimi Spice Runners, and they've been doing work behind the scenes and already plotting a coup against Gerhard. I don't know why I want to keep calling him Gerhard. It's Ubricht Adelhard. No.
I know.
Yeah.
Ubricht Adelhard.
Yeah. Ubricht Adelhard.
What a great Nazi name. Sorry, go ahead.
It really is. Yeah. And deranged space Nazi. And meanwhile, the Acolytes of Beyond are doing whatever. And then you have the plot of Aftermath, which is there. It's this weird fourth entity that's sort of subtly nodded to.
Yeah.
And ultimately the Battle of Jakku happens. And we just see it from Luke and Leia's perspective. And Ubricht Adelhard is kind of the main antagonist, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what goes down in the series. And then hilarity ensues at the Battle of Jakku, and we move forward. But interesting. What do you guys think about this overall, like about this arc and how it relates to the Battle of Jakku as we know it from the Aftermath books?
I love getting insight into the New Republic and seeing Leia and Akbar and Luke strategizing. Yeah. And then I loved seeing Gallius Rax talking with Grand Moff Rand and Ray Sloan and Yuktashu and the Acolytes Beyond and all the plotting and the Shadow Council stuff and like the Hux, like Brendel Hux is just mentioned as being like in places. He's like, he's at the ship, like take it. Or he's like, you just see him in a frame or
for like a second. Yeah.
Yeah. Hux and Hux. Yeah. Brendel Hux and what's Hux the Younger's name? It's such a good name.
Armitage.
Yeah.
So I again similarly really liked it. I think last week I ended on the question of like for a series called The Battle of Jakku, there's really not a lot of Battle of Jakku. And like it's technically there. It technically happens. I get it. It's covered a little more in the Aftermath books, so I'll give it a pass. Like it's definitely there. And similarly to Grant, like I was most engaged with the story when there were giant panels of just my favorite characters talking to each other. Like that's when I was in on this. And like the action was good. I will say, like, for my only slight critique of this, and it is really slight because I really, really did enjoy this series, is that Alex Segura did a masterful job of weaving the story into what we see in Aftermath. But if you haven't read Aftermath, or are familiar with it, this feels very rushed at times and kind of like, wait, what happened? Why does this matter? Like,
you're speaking to like the single panel we get of Gallius Rax.
Yeah, like some of that stuff, because that's to me
where
that's
it's like
biggest,
that's like a chapter. It's like a brilliant chapter,
like
and
a book, like half a book almost, like that whole thing, and like
maybe
and I get it.
Adaptation of the books.
That's what I was thinking is they need to do a comic adaptation of those books as well as a companion piece to this, which would be great.
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fantastic. Did you guys catch the Nora Wexley panel?
Mm-hmm.
In the green.
Wait, so
Starship
can we talk about one thing real quick? So the Galactic Concordance deal that was signed, that panel, at like the very end.
Yeah.
Is that Masa Maeda signing it?
Yes. It's basically he's basically
okay. I want that framed and just in my living room.
Yeah, it's basically incredible. Surrender. It's the final surrender of the.
I thought that was Empire. In the Aftermath books, but like kind of early.
No, but to see it visually, it was just stuff. Yeah. I was amazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of early, or it was. I think it was early final book. But yeah, I mean, I guess the battle had to.
There's some definitely Mothma.
It sounds
storyline.
Familiar, and I just
the whole thing was that like Masa Maeda was a patsy, and he was like essentially the sacrificial lamb to be their representative on.
Yeah, there is a lot of Masa
Coruscant. Yeah, but he was just like he was a nothing burger. He had no power in the Empire. Everyone like as soon as he was there, they're like, don't listen to anything he says, and like
he had no command over the military. Really, the military was just doing their own thing.
And he was like, sure, we surrender, but it was like the Empire's like, we do what we want.
Yeah,
but it's still a cool panel, and it was a good moment to like wrap up the.
Yeah. Well, the big defining set piece moment is when that rebellion Starhawk like smashes into the Ravager.
Right, and
that was crazy.
Actually I didn't look this up, but that's from the Squadrons game, right? Do you guys play?
Yes.
Did you guys play the single player of Squadrons?
Yes, it's so long ago. Yeah. But so here's the thing: you're absolutely right because they also name checked that squadron. Was it Phantom Squadron? What's the name of the Phoenix Squadron?
No, Phoenix Squadron is Rebels.
Okay.
Phantom Squadron is Aftermath. That is Wedge Antilles led group with
So it was Phoenix and Phantom that they mentioned, but they didn't mention the one from
they called it like Squad 77 or something.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the one. They do name.
But so you were tracking all that, right, Ben? You were just like, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
This is how the space warfare is going.
As much as I could, but I honestly I didn't finish the single player of Squadrons. I got my butt kicked too many times, but like right around one of the Starhawk, and I was like, "What am I supposed to do here?" I had a tough time with that game. I got my butt kicked by that game.
I gotta revisit it. I did finish it, but I do not remember it. That game I kind of keyed in on a little bit for whatever reason. That game spoke to me.
What did you guys think of Adelhard's ending with Rin and Luke?
Well, so I guess I haven't given my 2 cents on this. I would say I was super disappointed by the Luke plot.
That's the Luke I remember, though. He's a pacifist who wouldn't hurt anyone, and wants everyone to redeem themselves. And,
remember, this is
no one's far from redemption. And
barely a year from him redeeming the ultimate evil in the galaxy, so I think he's a little bit high in his own supply, or at least a little bit like, I can save everyone, or everyone deserves a second chance. But I agree, not that dude. That dude did not deserve
just kind of,
chance.
for the Battle of Jakku, like I kind of wanted him to do something more important. And I know, like, I think it was a fever dream, and like, I've talked about this in so many episodes. And I was laughing
about the Titan.
Yeah, but they were like, it was like one of the like main characters, like Nora Wexley was like
that was a hollow message. I read that same chapter.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, how cool would it be with a panel with like Luke Skywalker addressing the like rebellion to be like, blah, 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 let's go. We've got to do this for the galaxy or something. And he was off. He was constantly like chasing Shaggy Dog stories and like off on like side plots and like, which is, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I just expected him to do a little more, and I was
play a bigger role in the New Republic.
And then it made no sense that he was decided to board that ship when like, I mean, I guess they had him do that before like a whole squadron and like Lando's crew rolled in to blow it up. But the thing was like, I don't know. I was like, wait, it's blowing up, but he's boarding it. And now the like tide's turning and like the rebellion's going to destroy the ship. And like, it just seemed a little contrived. And then ultimately he's there and he's like, I'll save you. And Rin just gats him and is like, no, he's dead and he's been gone a while. So let's get out of here. And it was just seemed like a little, anticlimactic for.
I will say similarly, I was least interested in Luke. When it cut to Luke, I'd read it and I was least interested in, which is like, I feel bad saying that because, I love Luke Skywalker and I love what they do to him, but like he was very much just there to kind of, I don't know, help with the morality of things.
Or the confidence. He's just like, Luke will handle that.
Yeah.
He didn't really help anybody, I don't think. It was like he almost got Leia killed twice. He was there and still couldn't like take out a dude. Like, can Luke Skywalker just do some heroic stuff every once in a while? Like,
yeah, did he? Yeah,
right. And not killing Ubrick Adelhard initially, that bit him, that came back to bite him. Like, and then like, I don't know.
And, it's a very Obi-Wan thing to do, but I feel like they had to write it because they had written themselves in a corner with that. And it was like, okay, but like, okay, he's not gonna, like, I don't know.
I was like a Leia fan reading these. I was like, Leia is my favorite character of the trio in these comics. Yeah,
Leia was great. Han was
great.
great.
Leia was awesome.
Han was great.
She fought Dewooten.
Yes.
Dewooten.
I think I had Han came in and saved her, but I was like, I think she could have beat the Dewooten by herself. Honestly,
I think she was getting there. Yeah, my thought is like with Luke, if he had kind of like learned his lesson in a way, I'd be okay with the story. If at the end he was just like, I really wanted to save him, but you were right. He was too far gone. Like, even for him just to say something like that, I would have been like, okay, like, got it. Like, this is a learning for him that like, yes, I should try to save everyone, but there's a time that we can't. There are times we have to make hard decisions.
I wish he shouted no and had some sort of foresight that she was going to do that.
Yeah, something.
And have some foresight and be like, and shout no. And so you see that it's going to wear on him and whittle him down to the Luke we get in The Last Jedi. At some point, he's going to deal with more and more moments like this where there's just horrifically ambiguous, ambiguous moments that then end tragically. And it's like, even though maybe it's the right thing to do, but it's still like just a violent act of
I can see why he would not want to do that. Yeah. But there's a weird, like, and she telegraphs that because, like, in a few issues before, she's just like, I'm coming with you because I can do the things you can't. And then, like, shoots. This is like the third time she has done this in front of him, of just, like, straight up murdering someone straight in front of Luke. And, like, it's just weird. It's interesting. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it.
In the first episode of the first arc, didn't, like, she think her girlfriend died? And it was, like, Ariana...
Yeah, and then she really does at the very end.
And then she does actually. And she comes blazing out in a TIE fighter and starts taking on a Star Destroyer.
Yeah. Yeah. She takes a ship with no shields.
No shields against a Star Destroyer. Yeah.
I mean, brave, but maybe a little foolish. Like,
there's your rogue scoundrel right there, but that's a little dim. That's like Dengar dim. Actually, Dengar would be more self.
Yeah, Dengar would not do that. He wouldn't risk his life like that. Yeah.
Right on. Any other high points?
Oh yeah, how did you guys feel about the underworld characters being such a central focus in these comics, especially in this issue?
I appreciated how back and forth they were and how much the loyalties kept changing. And you're like, wait, are they? Are they?
I couldn't track
it. Yeah, I had to read it a second time, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm kind of following this, but I like it.
Yeah, the Zeva Bliss seems like she was changing allegiances from, I guess, the first and second series to the third series,
which feels like a very underworld thing to do, right? Like just try to come out on top.
Yeah. She's like,
I love the crew around Zeva Bliss. I just wanted to shout out crew.
Yeah, my poor Shiga clan is fallen. But I mean, actually, so we have his name's what? Kevron, that boss. I mean, that Trandoshan.
Yep.
Cranor or something.
Cranor, that sounds right. Yeah, Cranor, you got it. You got these things.
I'm back,
buddy. You're back.
Weasel makes an appearance.
Yeah,
he gets name checked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At the very end, he gets name checked, and he showed up in the last run.
Yeah. How sad is it seeing Han pilot the Millennium Falcon solo?
Oh, I thought you were going to say how sad is it seeing Han with a beard? Sorry, go ahead.
I like seeing Han with a beard.
I love this
hated
beard.
it.
Luke.
Hated it.
Yeah.
And I as a bearded man, but like, didn't like it.
It's like if you're that handsome, like stop it.
It's also a bad beard. It was like shaggy and weird. Like,
He has a skin that's a Battle of Jakku skin in Battlefront 2, and he has a beard.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. And
you guys,
it looks bad. Pod, it looks real bad.
Good. It should.
Did you guys talk Jarek Yeager on the last pod, or did we talk about that?
No,
I think we talked.
We talked it on the first part.
Yeah, I think.
But
the first
yeah, it was nice to see Yeager name checked in the battle.
Yep.
Yeah, he was right there in the thick of it with Akbar, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phantom Squadron 2. So all the Aftermath stuff I was here for.
Yeah.
I really loved all the hidden things in there. Like Phantom Squadron, that's from there.
Yep.
It was just like little nuggets for us, I think, and you really had to like squint to see them. The Observatory, Shadow Console, we talked about that.
Yep.
Nora Wexley, Phantom Squadron. I don't know.
I think that's it.
Am I missing anything else? There's like
the Acolytes of the Beyond were kind of my favorite part of this comic. And like Reyna Askur and
I don't think we're done with them. Like this is clearly we talked about this last
end. Yeah, I want to talk about the very, very end at some point.
We'll talk about that because I have questions. But like so we talked about this a little bit, Grant, last week. They announced a new Star Wars main run that's going to start in May. That's going to basically spin off of this, but it's going to be like just going to call it Star Wars. It takes place after this, and it's going to be Han, Luke, and Leia. So we're getting our first stories post Return of the Jedi that are canon.
These are going to be the best comics ever.
I'm very excited for them.
So excited.
I feel like this is such a good job of setting it up. So I feel like Acolytes of Beyond, I think, are going to be a big part of that series.
Yeah,
it essentially isn't hemmed in by anything.
Exactly.
In time.
Yeah, and it's like it's gonna be pretty much all we have of this time period is Bloodlines, and it's been a long time, and that's all we have. And it'd be nice to fill that in. I mean, it'll be important stuff.
When does Bloodlines happen?
I think probably like 4 years after this. Because I think I'm pretty sure
ABY. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think Ben Solo is a toddler.
Yes,
but I think he can speak. I don't, because like he knows like Uncle Lando and Uncle Chewie and like, oh man, what a sweet childhood. What a brat.
So Ben is born at the end of this comic.
Yeah.
It's nice to see
Ben Solo.
It's nice to see a panel of glowing Han Solo proud of his son.
Wait, so Han Solo is so happy at the end of this series.
Yeah.
Mm.
See how long that lasts.
That was affecting. That got me.
Yeah, it was good. I too. It's hard. Like it's one of those things where I guess it's better going in reverse as opposed to if this was always canon and you saw the story and then like they're like, oh no, he became like Kylo Ren. That would have been harder than going backwards. But it's still like, it's depressing. Like it's like we know where that ends.
It's almost the most depressing.
Yeah, but it was.
That's the thing with Star Wars is everything is depressing. Like because even as this stuff's coming out, it's like, well, we know how it goes. Except maybe that's why we love the Andor series because we're like, this is headed towards the best dub the Rebellion like ever had.
I love how he gets dubs. It's like complete sabotage. Like it's almost like such a thorough dub. But
that's very true.
Though in Rogue One, all the we know the fate of Cassian Andor. So again,
it's still a massive dub though because it
doesn't feel like a depressing fate, right? Exactly. Like it feels like a win.
Yeah, I mean, as far as death goes, it's really not that depressing.
No one can ask for anything more than that, right? Like to give your life for ultimate sacrifice and save the galaxy, basically. Like
Luthen Rail is somewhere smiling, even if it's in another dimension.
I mean, the super laser blast or face Vader up in the transport. I don't know what would be worse, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
That film has a great end. Like I feel like they just did such a good job with Rogue One, and that's almost like the most daring. People talk about bold swings. I'm like, that's the most daring movie to me because like everyone dies in the end.
Yeah.
And for I'll say too, for like a franchise making machine that is Disney to make the decision. Nope, they're all dead. Can't make a second one.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they just found out a way to go backwards in time and tell the story, but also like slam dunk with that. So you can't fault them. But like, it's kind of ballsy for them to be like, everyone's dead. No Rogue 2.
The tempo of that movie is what I love so much. It's just like it starts off this slow, meditative like study of the rebellion and like these individual characters, and it just gets faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And by the end, you're like, is that Vader? Oh my God. you know, you're losing your mind, and it just picks up steam, and suddenly it's just, and it just in this really nice organic like curve towards awesome. That I really, because I love
is also a standout new sort of alien
totally
humanoid character.
Yeah.
And, those are all like, it's crazy when you see a very well done humanoid character.
Yeah.
And it's so well done in that movie.
Yeah, Radis is like fist pumping awesome.
Yeah. Radis
so
is
good.
I don't know, like I don't know what I pop harder for, Radis or Akbar, but I think it's Radis at this point.
But they had that like Akbar energy, which is tough to do, man.
Yeah,
because
is tough.
In return, when it's
energy.
like he's swiveling around in that chair, you're on the edge of your seat. You're like Akbar, save us!
The shield will close like imminently. We must make ourselves. It's just like I don't know, man.
Our lasers can't repel. Our shields can't repel power. Oh no! What is it? Blaster fire of that magnitude? No, firepower of that magnitude.
Magnitude is definitely of that magnitude. Yeah, I know it's so good.
Oh,
the shield is closing.
Yeah.
But again, like
the albino like ones that are like next to him. Oh, those guys are awesome.
So good.
I know we're doing a Star Wars podcast, so this is kind of pointless to saying, but like it's kind of wild when you think about Return of the Jedi, how much falls in the back of aliens in that movie compared to even the first two, of just like, yeah, your big villain for the first third of that movie is a giant space slug. Like you have like Jabba the Hutt, like then like your hero commander is like a giant shrimp thing. Like it's just kind of really amazing to think about. And then you have the Ewoks at the end. Like how much of that movie is all aliens?
That's why it's still like in my top tier. But I'm pretty much like 5, 4, 6, like that's pretty much my list and has been my list forever.
It's pretty close to my list now, I think.
And it's like Return of the Jedi is just the top because or up there because it's like it's so abstract, and it feels daring. It feels like let's start with this strange sort of set piece with lots of alien characters, and Luke has to interact with this giant slug, and I don't know. It's like you said, I think that's just so brilliant.
Yeah. It's really a fascinating movie. I always forget that movie's like that movie's like 2 acts. That movie is just a 2-act movie in a weird way, right? Like it's just like Tatooine and then Endor. Like that's kind of it. Like you just go from there. They go to the briefing. They're on Endor.
The speeder bikes were, I think, my favorite scene as a kid.
Same.
I really loved the speeder bike chase in the woods.
I thought
but
about
now
that
I watch
scene
it
so
and
much
I don't know. The allure has diminished, but it's weird. It was the thing I loved the most when I was young.
That was that Lucasian thing, man. He's just like, there's something primal and innate about like chase scenes and races.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, there's something that's like, it's beyond just like his love of like, drag racing in the 50s or whatever he based that off of. And like, he's exactly like, no, this is a universal like thing that people can appreciate, and probably young people too. It's like fast.
And not to bring it back to Skeleton Crew, because we don't have to do a whole analysis, but like that the ability to kind of take that feeling and then map it on top of bikes and get that Amblin feeling was really fun. Yeah,
they did a nice job. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I had tears. That was the high point for me, was when Dad jumped the ravine.
Yep.
Like that's probably more reflection of me.
No, I mean
where I am in my life right now, but I'm like still like
we're men of a certain age. That should be the character that we glob onto, right? It'd be weird if we were glomming onto like Neil.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Neil. I was Neil, but like
right.
Oh yeah, Wendell. I feel seen when you see Wendell on screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was for us.
Rad. So
we talked about
7 systems coordinator.
Yeah, I know you do. I love when you do that, because I always take that as like, I'm going to say something. Can we talk about Brog for a second?
Yeah.
You don't pronounce it brag.
I mean, he just takes a big L in the
constantly. I can't call him brag because he has nothing to brag about. He's Brog because he's son. He's just is not good at his job. Like he is the worst giant henchman.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of like all the Bond henchmen, and I think he's still on the lowest, even below Knick Knack.
Well, I mean, you see from like the way the panels like cut, all he is like a watered down version of Vader, like a sad watered down version of Vader. And like, that's his intent, right? Like, he just it's for Adelhard's own vanity that he wants a giant person in black armor next to him.
He's getting like 4 points and 2 assists a game, basically.
Yeah.
He also gets taken out with like
5 rebounds though. Maybe 10 rebounds. He's like,
Also, he gets taken out with like a knife. Like,
I think Reyna scored just like stabs him in the chest or something, right?
With a dagger. Yeah.
I thought she did. Was it a lightsaber?
No, it's a dagger.
I'm thinking about the Trandoshan.
Yeah, with the Trandoshan. Yeah, no,
dagger.
She didn't even need her lightsaber for him. Oh,
nope.
For heavens.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like and I kind of love it. Like I love that kind of idea. Just he never lives up to any potential he has. He's just there, never does anything worthwhile. He's just there for intimidation. Yeah. But anytime you need to count for anything else, he's just toast.
Did he die?
Oh yeah, he's dead. He did. Yeah.
Oh right, so he died from Reyna.
Yeah, and then
don't Reyna and Adelhard make out after that?
No, that was the last
that's
issue.
Before. That's
they
last
almost
issue.
make out a ton in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of this. Yeah, angst between them.
And he's like, "I'll never trust you again." It's like, "Oh, Adelhard, you're so wrong about everything all the time."
I appreciate Adelhard as a character, even though I don't like him, but I think, I mean, you're not supposed to, but like, it's a different take of a villain, right? It is Colonel Kurtzy a little bit by the end of it, right? Like, it's a person who just went mad. Like, I love the fact that at the beginning of the first issue, he has like he's created a throne for himself.
Oh yeah, that was like one of my favorite pieces of art.
Oh,
where he was like lost his mind and has just like created a weird makeshift throne on a planet. But I remember. So in these final 3 issues, he actually stabs Reyna or slices Reyna.
Yeah,
a score in the stomach.
Yeah,
is she still alive though?
Oh,
because after he stabs her or like cuts her, he gets distracted and then you cut back and she's gone and there's a trail of blood. Yeah. So like she definitely.
And I think what's her name? Rin runs into her in a hallway.
You're right. Rin does after that.
They're passing. Right. She's going to the escape hatch and Rin's like, "Yeah, we gotta take care of some stuff," and they exchange some quips but like they don't kill each other and like
it's weird that she's like, you can have your vengeance and like fight me, or you can
save Luke,
save Luke or whatever. And I'm like, I was just like, she's going to get vengeance anyways. Like once you've read the issue, that you're just kind of like, what is stopping Rin from just like blasting away at everybody,
right?
In anger because Theresa Alern died. Basically.
Right. I think that's her girl. I think that's her best girl.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was just, some of the motivation stuff was just strange to me.
I know. It's like, why not just smoke?
It's like you're already getting vengeance. It's already a revenge-o-matic, essentially, at this point.
Yeah.
This character is a dark acolyte of the beyond who wields a sacrificial blade and stabs like people without, and backstabs people.
Let's keep her alive.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already going to commit one murder. Why not just commit?
I do love, there's a little bit of inner monologue with Luke at the very beginning, kind of after he talks to Rin. And I just want to read it because I do like it. It's very like, I feel like rarely do we get a lot of Jedi stuff with Luke because we just don't get a ton of chance with that. And so he just has this line which says, "Revenge only creates the illusion of victory. A false success built on smoke and mirrors. A win grasped through rage and malice destroys any chance for hope." Like, I like that line. Like, and that's a good Jedi line because it's like, no, we can kill people. People can be ended. But if you're doing it through rage and revenge, it's, it's not good.
And that's what was interesting to me, that they had all that commentary and then there were large panels of sort of Jakku and the rebel leaders being like, it's horrible what's happening down there. Our forces are taking heavy losses. But like, you maybe see like one soldier falling over in a weird sort of superimposed way. And I was like, maybe juxtaposing the horror of that war against Luke, like I get allowing the characters to have a little bit more dimensionality based on what they're saying with the high opera. Like, this should be high opera. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why a Star Wars isn't more operatic, essentially.
Yeah. I had a thought, because building off what you said, Grant, in terms of like Luke could have been able to sense her about to kill Adelhard. What if like he sensed that and he wasn't anywhere close and he ended up just killing Adelhard to save her from taking revenge? Right? Like this idea of just like, I'm going to steal this revenge from you so it doesn't haunt your soul. And he's gone anyway. Like, it'd be a really interesting
Yeah.
Like,
isn't there a negative responsibility thing with Luke where you're thinking as the audience, like this character is the equivalent of like Superman or Wonder Woman?
Yep.
They should be saving people's lives essentially, consistently. Why isn't Luke on the surface saving soldiers and infantry?
Front lines with the infantry.
Yeah. Why is he wasting his time with this guy?
Armored transports and ATSTs and whatever's down in the desert down there.
Right. Yeah. Taking those out by hand. I mean, this goes to what you were talking about, Grant, or what you talk about a lot, Grant, is like the possibility that the Republic wanted to sort of draft Luke as a light side Vader, as sort of like this, this fist of freedom.
I guarantee you that will be covered, I think, in the issues that Adam just spoke about.
I hope so. I hope they look at that. And he feels that pressure.
What is Luke's relationship with the New Republic?
I just feel like there was a lot of big moments that could have happened that they avoided intentionally.
Yeah, part of me wonders. I don't know. This is all like back. Who knows with what happened with this? If part of it was just like this was really scripted to just be a 12-part series, and then they're really liking what they're seeing, and they're like, no, we're actually gonna decide to now continue in the main run. So maybe you got to leave a little things like kind of loose because it does
administrative stuff.
It does really feel like. Once I started reading this and once I saw that announcement and read this last part, it really just feels like a preview or like just kind of wrapping everything up before we can jump into the new thing. The other thing, just kind of go back to Luke, because I don't want to like hit on this too hard, but like doesn't want to kill Adelhard. He kills dozens of stormtroopers in these episodes, in these things. So I'm like, why is a stormtrooper's life less worthy to you?
Yeah, than
a person who's basically just a foot soldier, maybe brainwashed or whatever, is less important to you to save than a maniacal killer. Like, just like,
there's some.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's just some of the conceit.
It is
Star Wars.
I don't know why he would wield his lights. Why wouldn't he just like force push them at this point or something? Like once you elevate in skill and become a Jedi Knight and beyond, you start like force pushing people, or maybe it's not like maybe the force choke on the Gamorreans that he did that we have evidence of. It's like maybe that was just like a sort of like a chokehold to like a sleeper hold. You know what I mean? Like, and it was just kind of
the
like
oxygen until they pass out.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm saying. So it doesn't kill them essentially. Like I don't understand why Luke doesn't do more of that stuff that we've already seen him demonstrate.
Yeah, I think the simple answer is similar to Ben's answer to my discussion, which is it's the conceit. Lightsabers are cool. We want to see more lightsabers. Yeah.
And it's a weird thing with Luke is that like he did come around to the light so hard in Return that it's like afterwards, it's like you can't really play he's flirting with the dark side still.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just train super hard all the time and then like balance on one finger, like do some crazy stuff where it's just like Luke is wild the way he trains nowadays. And like you can put all the lightsaber stuff there. So when he confronts a stormtrooper, it's like he just like force chokes them or he like pushes them.
Weirdly, the closest thing we ever got to that was Book of Boba Fett, right? Because when he's training with Grogu, there's not a ton of that, but there's like lifting a ton of rocks, doing like the flips and stuff. Like it's it's weird. That's the thing we see the most post. Yeah,
and that's what we see with old Luke too. But he should be there at that point. But yeah, it'd be cool to see it earlier. I want to talk a little bit about Adelhard having a nutty. Just like losing his mind. Yeah. Because like in the first two the first two arcs, he is like he has the inner monologue, and it's like this grandiose speech of all the like I am the inheritor of blah, blah, blah. But then when we hit this arc and like he's in the field with his handful of stormtroopers and Brog, and he's under the tent, I think he's saying it out loud. Like he's doing the monologue, but he's doing like what we had external.
His internal is external now. Yeah, he's full bonkers by the end of it. Like he's just.
I just wanted to see if you guys noticed that too, because I was like, oh, that's really really
because you see the reactions of the stormtroopers.
The stormtroopers,
I feel like a snail on the edge of a razor blade.
Honest to God, right? He is a Colonel Kurtz, and I love it, and I feel like I just love that now. He's just like, no, I'm just gonna kill everyone because screw this.
Yeah, it was interesting to create this whole narrative with him, and it ultimately, I think, did he matter? Does he matter? I guess so. They had to like bring a bunch of people. Like he was the last stage sort of wild card.
Yeah.
And it ultimately turned the tide. But Yeah, I mean, I guess it it doesn't infringe on Aftermath at all,
So,
but it was a wild thing.
It
Well,
doesn't.
the Anawats sector, isn't that where like Bespin and Hoth are and stuff? Isn't that?
Yes, Hoth.
Yeah, so there are major planets that were in that sector. Was he the Moth there at that time?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah, he was the Moth there. And I guess so. Here's my thought now. I'm trying to put this together. Is maybe the reason behind an Alucard type character is to explain Luke's general absence from Jakku, right? Because if you had him fully engaged in Jakku, it feels like that would have been an easier battle for the rebellion to win. Or so maybe that's part of it, is like you're kind of giving an excuse for why he's not there. I don't know.
You are, but I just feel like you could have told, like, Aftermath didn't cover what was going on in space or with Mon Mothma really at all.
No, yeah.
And so it's like, that's a story I wanted. Like, I wanted to know.
I think see, if I was the rebellion, I would take a U-Wing and I'd have a Luke Skywalker in the U-Wing and then deploy him and have the U-Wing circle, bring him to the next site, deploy, bring him to the next site. It's like, it'd be so effective in terms of wiping out.
Or just have him in Red 5, dude. Just like have him in Red 5 with R2, just like
I don't know. It's like your best asset in terms of military asset.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't really care where he's deployed. Like if you because a lot of the books happen on the ground. It's like, all right, so you want to. I mean, it would be great to have him down there, and it's a big planet. You know, he could do a lot of things. But
you could even get like a more heavily armored U-Wing, like customized, where it's like this is the Luke, like just brings Luke down.
The Luke wing.
Well done, Adam.
Thank you.
That is great. All right, yeah, I just wanted to talk about how bonkers Gerhard was. And I think that's it for me, man. I think we've covered all the things. Timur Ariz, we hardly knew you. She got smoked in the first panel.
Yep. That felt like comedy at a while, where I felt like they kept assassinating people on Chandrila. I'm like, all right, this is comedy at this point. One more, and it is a comedy routine. I thought the next person was going to get smoked.
No one noticed the Acolytes of Beyond just sauntering down this main.
That's what was so weird. Wild to me. It's like, Princess, stay back. We don't know why they're here. Boom, and like,
you know why they're there. They're not there for good reason.
Shrouded in black and red robes. Like, this is terrifying. Eyes wide shut.
Exactly. It's like it's just an eyes wide shut party on the main thoroughfare. The other thing is, who is Elodie Marakayana, and why should we know who she is?
A pirate?
Right. Yeah. So you asked the question.
She's the baddest of pirates, the owner of my very own Imperial Star Destroyer, Liberty's Misrule, and all.
They come to help fight.
Chubies, the one and only best Elodie Marakayana. But like, I feel like we should have known who she was before time, and I just don't.
You do. Yeah. I think she's in Republic Under Siege, the second.
No, I think she's in the first one. As I was trying to think back, where like Aldehard was trying to court all of the pirates, like all of the scoundrels of that area. That's what I thought, but I don't remember.
And she stole a Super Star Destroyer. I feel like I would have remembered.
That is very much from old EU with what's his name? It's like Mara Jade's adopted father. Grant, do you remember the main pirate, like the big pirate person in the old EU? Ugh, the name's gonna come to me at some point.
Do I remember?
It's gonna drive me nuts. But yeah, I feel like he had a Star Destroyer in old EU.
A Super Star Destroyer.
I know they upped it for new EU.
It's a ship the size of Manhattan.
Yeah,
that seems a little large. Like I feel like with a bunch
Talon Card.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah,
didn't even have to look it up. Oh my god.
Did Talon Card have a Super Star Destroyer?
No, I think he had a regular Star Destroyer at some point, but
he was the cool one, right?
Yeah, he was the one like
the smuggler kingpin. Information broker.
Like mostly,
he was like an adoptive father to Mara Jade. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
father figure, kind of ish. Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I should have known who that was, but I was like, oh, all right.
I was really afraid you're going to ask that question because I was also going, I should know, but I'm going to look her up look them up while I am
Mm-hmm.
Checking this out. I should say. Let's see.
That was my last one. That's all I've got.
Oh, they show up in Life Debt and Empire's End in the Aftermath series.
That's right.
So that's another Aftermath connection.
Oh, no kidding.
Their first appearance was in Life Debt, yeah. And then they're in Last Stand 3 and 4. So this is the first time we see them. It's just in these comics. So we should have known them from 10 and a half years ago when
we reviewed those books.
Yeah, when those books came out. Yeah.
So Grant, Adam and I talked about this offline. We were thinking in the Dark Times, which is pretty much at post Andor season 2 to whenever the next thing comes out, we should do a reread of the Aftermath series.
I agree. I almost want to do like
that'd be fun.
Aftermath, Shattered Empire, these comics again. And
let's dive in some oldie or like new older new canon and some EU stuff would be fun to kind of look at that.
What if we did like the essential canon sort of like reading guide, or we did like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like you want to read the Aftermath books, the graphic novels, Shattered Empire, these Battle of Jakku, this Battle of Jakku novel series.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick a child to kill. I love them all.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a couple that I'm like,
and then the Jody Hauser sort of like one-off issues.
I mean,
aren't those like essential?
Yeah, I think they are. So we are approaching. So the new. Was it on this comic or another comic I saw? Let me look real quick. They have a new header for the Star Wars comics, which is just basically like, Star Wars Marvel 10 years. So they've been publishing the new EU Star Wars comics for a decade at this point, which is wild. So that might be an interesting look back of just like a decade now of comics and books, kind of looking at the original stuff coming out.
10 years, man. That's wild.
Isn't it?
Can we then vote stuff out?
Sure. We do whatever we want.
No, I'm serious.
Stop us.
At the very end, once we assemble the list of all the sort of like what we think is sort of like the definitive canon reading guide it's right next to sort of the movies, right? That's sandwiched between, after you're finished watching Return of the Jedi and before you start The Force Awakens, like this is a great reading guide that sort of is couched right between those films. That sort of.
Are you thinking canon stuff or non-canon as well?
Like canon, like making what we think is the essential canon, and then things that we do. Like I don't want to give a preview of a sort of maybe some of the arguments I might throw out there, but it's like, Knights of Ren, like I don't care.
Oh God,
like I don't
cut
care.
Immediately.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Oh wow,
the Rise of Kylo Ren. I do like Snoke on the that giant space station.
Yeah,
I do
Araxis station.
I almost just don't want the Ren stuff. I just don't care.
No, I agree.
I don't get it.
They need to.
I almost doesn't go. We can vote stuff out. You know what I mean? Like
I'm kind of hopeful for the Legacy of Vader is going to give us a good view, and part of me like wishes. I guess we don't have anything. What's that? A Maxine? Is that
a Maxine station?
Yeah, I feel like with Ren, right, with Kylo, the only thing we have in that Knights of Ren No, what was it called? You just named it. Whatever that one.
The Rise of Kylo.
The Rise of Kylo is literally just the rise, and so now I'm looking forward to that's not my favorite story. It's a little rough, but like now I'm interested to see him as Kylo, like being Kylo. Like I'm looking forward to that, but I wish we could kind of reset.
That's a tough argument for me because there's so little material in that time period also I do love it all. So and
I do think Kylo the Lost
ties in. So
is a great pitch. Like I love that.
The Lost Tapes.
It's like, what is Kylo doing for like
it's his emo phase
span when Snoke is just like berating him? Like what's happening in that period?
I want him like just like in a dark room smoking cigarettes, wearing all black, and just like listening to the space gear. And and he's just a dark kid, and you're like don't know why, and like then he like turns to the dark side. He's like, yeah, that's so metal. Like let's go. So when Snoke is like come to a Maxine station.
Yeah. I love that. I don't know if you know what? Fine. I'm going to talk about it for a second. I was looking a little more at Elodie. So I kind of love that they name check them in this book because this is the character that got what's his name? Who wrote the comics? Who wrote the books for the Aftermath books? I can't remember his name.
Chuck Wendig.
Yeah. Remember the amount of flack Chuck Wendig got online about these books? It's because of them. Because he put a non-binary character as a person who had the pronouns they, and so this is the reason why
there was a couple too. they were Zay, right?
Zay, like Z, ZHE is their pronoun or is their pronoun.
Yeah.
And so this is the one. So I kind of love that they're like, no, we're doubling down. This is a character that exists, and we're still bringing them back. Like,
I love that they smash in at the moment to save the day for the Battle of Jakku. That's pretty great. And then there was another. I remember that. I mean, I think he was just gay, but the ISB agent was awesome. That character.
Yeah.
Kith Alacia. Oh, the ISB officer.
The ISB
in the Aftermath
something
books.
with an S, I think. Yeah, it's been 10 years.
Yeah, that's why we got to reread it. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and we haven't reviewed it together, so stuff like that is fair game. There was another Aftermath reference that I just found in my notes. It was Sloane over like Rax's bleeding body, and it was the moment that Rax was like, you need to get to the unknown regions, there's another ship, take it, you need to take your place. Like, he's the one that sends her off into the unknown regions to join up with the First Order, Final Order. And that is not covered in Aftermath.
No, because they didn't know.
Just sort of disappears. They're like, there's rumors she went to the unknown regions, and that's they didn't know where she went. That was some cool glue that they.
It's good fill, like backfill, because that was not, they didn't know 10 years ago. That's the final plan. So I was thinking about like our future plans with these books. Is I also know that I remember the first book we ever covered on this podcast was for Solo. It was the Last Shot book. So we could look at all the books that came out
before Last Shot
to Last Shot and see how many of those we want to go back and maybe backfill our coverage.
Dude, we get Lucino Tarkin was the first one that came out, and I'm such a Lucino
that's the first one
fanboy, and
I'd happily
and it's really good. It's really good because it says it's like it's coming on the heels of Plagueis, and he's in the zone, man. It's a lot of Vader stuff. It's a lot of like Tarkin's upbringing on Aradu, which actually ties into what we're about to cover in the High Republic. I think we're going to go down another High Republic hole soon with catching up on comics. And I'm pretty sure Tarkin's featured in one of those runs. So Tarkin's family.
Yeah.
Right. Yep, the Tarkin
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to see that Aradu is his homeworld, and like there was a great world designed by Lucino, who's actually like, if I could bring back an author from EU, he would be number one with a bullet on my list. I love his voice for Star Wars. I love everything he does, man. And he would be great to bring back. I don't know, maybe he was just done, or like what they wanted to bring in some fresh voices, but holy cow, he's so good, man.
Yeah.
We've got lots of fun reading ahead of us, but this was so much fun. Like this comic series by Alex Segura, I thought was perfect. I really liked it. So there's some stuff that was just the Luke journey, I guess, didn't work for you guys, but for me, it's like I don't know, it was fine. It was seeing Han sit back and relax at the end of this series was solid.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I just bumped up against some things. It didn't completely not work for me. I just bumped up a couple things.
Yeah, I had some conceits going into this. I think that's what hurt it for me. Or not conceits. I had some sort of ideas in my head about it, and I think that kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just wanted to see. Yeah. I don't know. I love the Aftermath books, though it has been forever since we read them, and I wanted it to tie a little closer. And it's like, but they create, they had to, if they're going to do a 12-issue arc, they had to create a different. I guess they did, but did they? Like, I feel like there's enough meat on that bone where it's like, I want to know how they're interacting, and maybe it wasn't exciting enough, and they needed this Adelhard sort of orange fascist like archetype to sort of be in there and battle against. But we'll see. I was like, because there's so much they didn't say in the Aftermath books about the big three, and I was like, oh, okay. I just expected something different, a little more keyed into just the Battle of Jakku, and it wasn't really even clear why they were going to Jakku. They're like, we all have to go to Jakku. That's just what's happening.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So yeah. Mm-hmm. Should we? Maybe... Sorry.
Go for it.
Please, no, Grant, please.
Oh, I was just going to say we have to return to our our setup. Our bit that we've
That's
set
what
up
I was going to do.
from the very start.
We were all there. We all remembered.
I was
about
gonna,
to do the same thing. Yeah.
I was gonna push us there, but no, I just wanted to say that I don't know, these issues I feel like were I think going to go on the essential list for me. Like I think that, so I would definitely just hold these up as a great comic, and hopefully people read these issues, because I feel like there's so much meat, like you're saying, there's so much meat on the bone here. So, and like, I don't know what else you could call a series that's, after the war, that doesn't sound so sort of like derivative, like or like a history book. Like, what do you do post-war? What do you title this piece that's sort of like the rebuilding? Like, what do you title this piece that is going to take place after the Galactic Civil War? You know what I mean? Like, and how show more Luke stuff? How can you show more?
It's reconstruction, right?
What did Lincoln call it? What was
reconstruction?
It was the reconstruction.
Yeah, so it's the Reconstruction era. Yeah.
So I mean, you could call it the Reconstruction.
Yeah,
and
it's a good term.
Incredible novel. If it's like, the novel is basically called the Reconstruction, and it's the rise of the New Republic.
Yeah, I love that. I mean that's what it is, right? We just exited the Galactic Civil War, so it makes sense for the Galactic, Reconstruction.
Yeah, we should get Max Brooks to write it.
Oh,
and it'll be like a retrospective.
I love that, like tales from the Reconstruction.
Yeah. When he gets cooking, I don't think anyone cooks harder than Max Brooks.
That's very true.
I just finished Devolution, and right after my third reread of World War Z, and so I'm like on a Max Brooks like tear. I'm just like 100% in right now. That guy's great.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to the main event.
All right, so who would be the best Han Solo type rogue to cast in a...
Like, right now, you have to cast the next Han Solo.
Who wants to go first?
And not only do you have to cast the next Han Solo,
I've got one.
Like, Disney is dependent on this selection, and is hopeful that this person will bring droves of people to the movie theater and sell the scoundrel bit like never before. And
Disney's gonna love my choice.
Okay,
but go ahead, Ben. You want to go first, or you want me to?
I'll go first because mine's terrible, and you guys are gonna have good ideas.
No,
I'm gonna bring.
I'm sure it's good.
No, it's a popular name. Too popular, probably. He's a little old, but I think Brad Pitt would do an amazing job. I think he could be that rogue. And I know he's like on the older side, but like, he's going to look amazing for the rest of eternity. So like, I think you could probably, like, if you were worried about casting him in the future, but like his sort of nonchalance and just like every movie he's ever been in, especially like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like he could just become this character.
The Cliff character.
This magnetism.
Without saying sort of aloof and made a few words though. The scoundrel, the Han Solo of our day I imagine has to have some dialogue, or lots of dialogue.
Well, you can give Brad dialogue. He does well with dialogue too. I mean,
Fury.
He's
got okay. Yep. I mean, even you look at like Glorious Bastards.
It's a fun pick. I don't know if he would jump into this galaxy, but
but
be tough. He's almost like has the same problem that Samuel L. Jackson does. He's like too popular. Like he's too well known, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he might bump out of it a little bit. Like kind of I do with Woody Harrelson sometimes. But I will say, like, don't worry about the age thing. That's a constriction I put on myself. Like,
no, it's a good one though. It should be kind of. I mean, he was.
I also just tried to put. When I was thinking, I tried to put some guardrails up so it would help me focus. Does that make sense? So I'm like, I'm trying to look for younger. So the name I came up with, I have two. One is, I think, kind of a short shot, and the other one's a big reach. But I'll do the first one, then we can come back around. Michael B. Jordan would be my choice for
Adam. That was my choice as well.
Oh my gosh!
Don't worry, I have other choices too.
Good, because I was literally just thinking of him as Killmonger and he is very like. There's this scene when he's in the museum stealing for the first time and it is very good at like just being a scoundrel and more, but like very charming. I don't know. I think he could totally pull it off. He's great in Creed. We know he plays in franchises, right? Like he's right there. Disney would love it. They want more Michael
feeling betrayed by the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Betrayed by the life he has to lead in the galaxy, and definitely carrying over those Killmonger vibes. I could see Michael B. Jordan doing an incredible job. And the swag that he exudes in the Creed movies and in the Sinners movie that's coming out soon. He just has a swagger, and he's just a cool like dude who I just feel like is a perfect casting for a Han Solo type. Man, I was thinking after the Penguin, I was like, could Colin Farrell like run in here and be weird? I don't know.
100%.
But
100%.
I was thinking like for me, like if I had to do it, if I really was gonna restart a franchise and try to grab the smuggler of our time, I might grab like a Matthew McConaughey or like a Michael Shannon. Honestly, like I know it's a bit older, but it's like these guys are like the best cynical, or Michael Shannon would be amazing. He would be like the galaxy's horror.
I have a tough time looking at Michael Shannon.
He also doesn't scream charming to me.
No.
But I like him. I like him as an actor, so I'd like to see him in a Star Wars.
I'd like to see him charming. That would probably change my view of him.
And Matthew McConaughey, I mean, that's a great pick. I mean, they literally have brought him into a version of him into the High Republic.
High Republic, I know. It's like it's almost like he's been cast already. Like she's like, no, this is because it was Claudia Gray.
Yeah,
who created him?
Yeah, because it was along with like
she's like absolutely, this is a Matthew McConaughey is what I'm thinking, and I can't think of his name right now. She's works with Chancey Yarrow, and Geode,
that whole I
think Boyd Holbrook could be good.
Boyd Holbrook could be pretty good. So my other one that's kind of like out there, who's not my favorite actor, but saw him in a couple things recently. Austin Butler might be okay doing a role of that. Not my favorite actor, but I feel like he's charming. I feel like he can do the swagger.
Did you watch The Bike Riders?
I did not read I did not watch The Bike Riders. Okay. Would that hurt or help my argument?
That would help your argument.
Okay. Because Masters of Air, he was charming in, and he was kind of roguish. He did a great. I mean, the big issue is he's got to figure out how to drop the Elvis accent, which is still.
I don't know how it's not him just leaning against a wall and sort of like looking glum and being like the galaxy's a rotten place. Like I don't know. Like it to me, it's like again the Han Solo we need. Michael B. Jordan, I think, is the perfect answer. Honestly,
did you guys either of you guys watch The Warrior? The main character, Andrew Koji.
Yeah, is that the one? Is Nick Nolte in that movie? Is that like way back?
No, it's not. It was a TV series that came out, and I think it was on. I think it was like on Netflix and got sold to HBO or the other way around.
No, not familiar.
Yeah, I was talking to you guys. It's about San Francisco post railroad construction.
Oh, I do remember.
There's like it's about Chinese gangs and then the Irish gangs and the like racial strife in there. But I think it was like written by Bruce Lee or something. It was like I don't know if Bruce Lee wrote a script or like it was based off his writings.
Based on an original concept and treatment by Bruce Lee and executively produced by his daughter Shannon Lee.
Andrew Koji plays probably who Bruce Lee was planning on playing in the thing. I assume like it's a very Bruce Lee type character. But Andrew Koji is fantastic. He was like, there was a lot of actors in that show that I was like, oh, you would be great in Star Wars. I talked about this on a 100 podcasts ago, but right after I watched that, I was like, oh, we need y'all in Star Wars. Like they're really good actors. And yeah, Koji's like super charismatic and like, he's that super cool guy that, just walks in calmly into any room and is comfortable in it. And if you haven't seen that show, it's worth watching. But he would be another one that would be super good.
Yeah, I mean, super interesting. I like the setting of that show that you told me quite a bit, so I definitely want to check that out.
It's well written and it's really dynamic, and it's like we've never really gotten that show in that it's period piece, but it's like it's like cowboys and then Chinese cowboys now, and like so they're integrating, and it's
that name sounds super familiar. So I went down quick. I was Googling Wikipediaing him. He played a pretty major role in that Black Doves Netflix series that came out this year. Yeah. He was like the love interest, the inciting incident of that whole thing. And he is you don't get a ton of him in that show. There's a lot of like the same flashback and over it, but he is ruggishly handsome and very charming. So I could totally see that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. He could definitely, dude.
Dev Patel could be good.
Yep. Dev Patel for sure.
Dev Patel's a good pull. I always forget. And yeah, he'd be great.
He'd be really fun.
Yeah.
In that role.
See, I guess the big thing that we proved is there are options.
Yeah, but honestly, are any of them better than Gosling? No. Like I
really, I feel like Michael B. Jordan is instantly. I don't know. Like, who is Gosling again going to be mad about the galaxy and be like a Han Solo type and be an underworld figure?
Let him cook, bro. I think so. I think he's got all the chops to do a really good job. And so up to the writing really to give his character life. But I think he can play anything. Yeah.
Doesn't he scream the Han Solo shrug? Like, doesn't that feel like a Gosling movie?
That's true. It is very Gosling to like shrug.
But I know what you mean. Like I don't think he gets the. I don't know. I'm
not saying it's far away better, but it's
it
just
could
like
work. Yeah, it could work.
But like, any of the people we mentioned, like monumentally better than Gosling. Like, no, he's fantastic. He's an A-list actor. Like, he's fantastic.
It's super interesting because when I first heard that news, I was like, ugh. And the more I've been like thinking about it, I'm like, this could work. This could really, really work.
Actually, it could work. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you dig Star Wars, like, it'll be great. It's like, Natalie Portman got kind of pulled in. She's probably still never watched Star Wars.
Oh,
she did fine, but like, it was like, but for someone like that, if I want someone to sort of nerd out in that role. And I feel like Gosling might be that guy. He's our age, right? So
he is.
I feel like Gosling will be able to walk through the environments and the sets and feel like he lives there. Like, he's been a method actor, but like the way he moves through sets, and the way it's very natural. Like it will make you feel like the galaxy is real for sure.
I think that's why he's so winning in everything he's in, because he just feels so much right there. Speaking of Portman, rumors have been abounding for the last couple of weeks about her and Star Wars.
I did hear that.
Ahsoka season 2, there's a big rumor that we're gonna get her and Ewan and Anakin all together in flashback scenes.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm there for it. I mean,
and young want more or something. Like,
start up the smoke machine. Let's put him in the world between worlds and get our flashback in.
Yeah.
That would be cool. That'd be really cool.
And she seems like pro Star Wars again. Like, my favorite quote of hers recently is when she was on like Star Wars or Love and Thunder set, and Taika Waititi was talking to her, and he was, hey, did you want to be in a Star Wars? Because he was thinking about his thing, and she's like, I was in 3 of them. Taika had no idea or completely forgot that said she was in 3 Star Wars movies.
That makes me worry about Taika now.
Yeah, he's flaky sometimes. I could also feel like there's a lot of them. You're not paying attention. You're not thinking about the prequels a lot, but it's just funny.
I am.
Just like I know. I am too. But like, just you might not be.
I think about Attack of the Clones once a day.
Very similarly, I think about that movie more than I think about any other Star Wars movie, I think.
Yeah. I think about just the designs constantly. Like, I'm constantly thinking about just battle droids and super battle droids and clone troopers and like just that war, like the Clone Wars. I'm constantly thinking about that and sort of like imagining events around that and thinking about Clone Wars, the show.
You think about Dex.
Yeah.
And
I do think about Dex's
Diner.
Yeah. You guys are making me hungry. I'm thinking about Dex's Diner now.
Ooh. Need some Jawa juice, honey.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Ryan Gosling could definitely work. We'll see what happens.
I
just thought to myself, I don't know. I like the Han Solo. I guess there's not really a lot of people like Harrison Ford today.
No.
A
lot of people like Harrison Ford, full stop. I mean, he is kind of a throwback, like, superstar, right? Like a Redford or something. Yeah. Or a Steve McQueen, or like he's
kind
like
of the last of that ilk in a lot of ways. Even though he kind of like bridging the generations, in a lot of ways between them.
He's kind of Ryan has one-liners, but he also just speaks his mind aloud, and it's just I feel like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see someone else try to fill those shoes of being the smuggler in the ensemble.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think people are thirsty for it, though. I think we've hit on it. I think it's a thing that's been missing, and people don't realize it's missing. And when they finally realize they're going to get it, I think they're going to be really, really happy and excited to see it.
Right. And then more sort of third person about Jedi rather than first person with Jedi, where they're sort of mystical and they're off-putting and they're sort of untouchable a little bit, because I really feel like when Han's in the room, he's your avatar. He's your, sort of your view into the galaxy.
Yeah.
And they play that kind of role.
Well, also like Luthen Rail is a very interesting character because he's like, it's not just the lightsaber combat that can kind of be the giant set piece stuff. It can also be like exquisite sort of like starfighter maneuvers and like starship maneuvers, where he takes his like Fondor Hullcraft and sort of like takes out that lightsabers class Star Destroyer, and it's like one of the coolest.
Almost got out of an episode about.
I'm like, you almost want to see like the smuggler characters, like the Han Solos, like do those sort of sweet, like action set piece things in space with whatever underworld pirates chasing them or something. Like you want to see that stuff.
Yeah, pulling out all their, getting into their bag a little bit and using some.
I feel like movies are the only place where you can really do the extended starfighter starship sequences, essentially.
So, do you remember episode 4 of Mandalorian season 2?
Yeah, there's a very fun starfighter incursion with Bo-Katan, Mandalorian, TIE Advances, I think.
So I was even thinking before that. It starts with maybe it's not 4, maybe it's 2. It starts with the Mandalorian in like space, in like deep space, and like a bounty comes up behind
randomly.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has to get into a starfighter battle with him, and he gets in his bag a little bit and pulls some maneuvers. Actually, the starfighter stuff with Mando is fantastic, kind of soup to nuts.
It's amazing.
They pepper in some great stuff.
How far they came from season 1. Season 1 was very sparing, I feel like, in that, and then season 2 they realized they had the budget, or they had figured it out, and it looked real good. Yeah.
Right. There was that I'm blanking on his name, but there was the one where with the Empire on Navarro, and like he's being chased, they're being chased, and then the Mandalorian comes in to save the day, and he does that like stall out maneuver, like going straight up, and like all that stuff is pretty great.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
So I love that stuff.
Speaking of episode 2, I always think about way back when around the survivors, a perimeter make. It's one of my favorite Yoda lines of all time. I think of that line at least once a week.
Wait, so Attack of the Clones is the movie I remember as a kid. Like again, I'm just talking about nostalgia again here. It's like Yoda's arrival and Yoda's fight with Count Dooku. I can't even explain the highs of those moments.
I know.
You were so hyped for that.
I was like, they were the best moments ever. And then now I'm more cynical, and I'm like, why did Yoda just commit to the clone army like this?
I know.
And now it's like I've just ruined it for myself. And I'm like, is that what killing the magic is? And then I don't know.
It's a little bit, but that's what we do.
That's what becoming an adult is.
Right. Yeah. But I think that came out in 2000. Was that 2000 was Attack of the Clones, or 2001?
2001.
2002? 2002.
Could be 2000. It's either 2000 or 2000.
Yeah, that was
2001 or 2002, right?
Okay,
the first one was 99, 2002, and then
2005. That's right, because 3 years apart. Maybe that's an idea. Is maybe make a trilogy 3 years apart. Anyway, but I was gonna say, I still remember seeing that as a 22-year-old and sitting there, and I should have been cynical and like, this. What are they doing when Yoda lit up his lightsaber? And I'm like, nope. Got me. I was still there for it. I was like 22, just sitting there going, yes.
It was like,
I went home.
I think everyone I think there was like audible cries and audible shouts at that moment in the theater I was in, and people were like, "Is this gonna happen?" Everyone went, "Oh,
same." I remember that. People were
he's like
about this post-pandemic because it's like
he got like a WWE entrance.
Really just get loud at times, and I hope people see that.
It was like, who's coming down the hallway?
Yeah, right.
Like, and he just like hobbles.
He had like entrance. He had like John Williams entrance music. Yeah. That movie, I don't know if everyone remembers, got leaked on the internet pretty quickly after it premiered. Like, and not even just a cam, like the full thing. And so I downloaded that movie, which I didn't do a lot, and just watched that sequence like once a day. Like I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm like, I just want to watch that sequence once a day, maybe like.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the music's like and like Yoda's like clacking over with his cane, and then like it just draws the saber. I just don't think you are ready to see Yoda fight, like ever. Like I don't think you're ever really ready to see that, because like what is that? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then when you see it, you're just like, so he can like easily behead someone, but he just doesn't. He just kind of like Harry's around them, like and it's in like a flurry of slashes, and that's it. And then he's kind of, I feel like he really would never have killed Dooku in that fight either. I feel like he was just simply trying to wear him down.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I know. Would have been great. Yeah, I mean that one was great. Probably my favorite Yoda fight scene though is when he and Obi-Wan are just destroying.
Okay, that is such an underrated moment. That's why Revenge of the Sith, I think it's still like there are moments that I kind of fast forward, through in Revenge of the Sith, but then there are moments that I'm just like, is this peak Star Wars? Is Yoda and Obi-Wan retaking the temple for like a brief period of time?
yeah.
To like erase stuff and send out a hollow message. Is like, is this the peak of Star Wars right now? And just those two kind of go in there and take out whatever remnant 501st are stationed there or something. Like that is crazy.
Yeah, they just like, wait, did they fight through the entire 501st?
I don't know. Yeah. They just I don't know. They just took out a bunch of people in front of the temple and infiltrated. Yeah.
I had this routine. So those were all happening. I was I think I was still at college when Phantom Menace came out, and then young professional for the next two. But I had a routine where like I would go see it for the first time with friends, and then I would go back by myself at least two more times in the theater.
Yeah, I had the same exact routine, Ben. I just had to see it by myself.
Heavy.
Yeah.
I just basked in the glow of Star Wars, and I just loved it.
Attack of the Clones,
all those prequels.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones. I had a midnight ticket, and then we
were at the same show. We were at the same theater. We've identified that.
And then I had a 10 a.m. ticket in Hyannis, like a 10 a.m. ticket. Too. Yeah. So it's just like I was just like up.
The Obi-Wan Jango fight sounds so good in theaters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's so loud too. It's
punctuated by the negative space bombs.
I was gonna say those negative space bombs is like to me still the best sound effect in all of Star Wars, which is hard to say because there's so many. But I love that. I love that so much.
Well, it's like Holdo maneuver and that are probably the top of the list in terms of like sound design. Yeah,
so good.
Great. Well, we've meandered around all over the place. Do we know what we're doing next week, Adam? Did you decide? We
talked about doing Spaceship. Yeah, doing a game. Yeah, I think we might kind of do. We got stuff to cover, but there's also not a ton of stuff coming out on TV, so we might just kind of pepper in some, some fun stuff.
Instead of reviewing stuff, it's kind of fun to just pontificate and think and have fun. So I think y'all that are listening, think about starships and your favorite starships, because I think we're going to do a starship draft. I think we're each going to do top 3, and that'll lead to a conversation about pretty much probably all the starships ever.
Right.
And what they're about. And that'll be fun. I'll bust out my cross-section books. They're my favorite things in the whole world. Because that's just going to be, it's going to be like, what's the feng shui in the starship is kind of like how I'm going to pick mine.
Yeah. But, I like it.
Oh yeah. Are we thinking about them for other, utilities like sort of combat or
whatever your justification is for why you want it?
I was thinking like, that's why I was saying like, thought experiment. You have your own space station. You have 3 spaces for 3 starships in your hidden space station you won in a Sabacc tournament. And so it's for personal use. You probably don't want repeats, but maybe you do. Maybe you want all racers. I don't know. But so you get 3 starships for personal use. Which ones are you going to pick?
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. But so if one of us drafts the Falcon, the other we can't, or the YT freighter.
There's only one.
Only one person can get.
Only one person can do it.
Yeah.
And also, it's like if I draft the Falcon, it's like, do I need another hauler? I'm not going to get a Ghost. That'd be silly.
Right.
I'm going to I'll probably get I might want an N1.
Do we want to take them in class? Maybe. Are we going to be like in this? I don't know.
No. There's too many micro classes, I think.
Yeah.
But like I know I'm going to pick 3 different types of ships.
Yeah, I think do whatever you want to do. It's not necessarily competition, but have justification for why you're picking the 3 that you are.
Yeah.
And like, who has the dopest any air speeders or repulsor crafts? Or...
I think it has to be starships.
Yeah, okay. Space worthy. Yeah.
Yeah, there aren't enough speeders really to like it's T-15 and that's kind of it. But
and no droid ships. So
what?
Look at the info.
I want one Lucra Hulk space station.
No, but you know what I'm talking about. There's like actual ships that are just droids.
If I'm not going to get a droid ship that I can't climb into.
Can't get into.
Exactly. You got to have a cockpit that you can use. Yeah.
Okay. Those are the only rules. I love it.
All right,
great. We'll do that next week. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us at the Cantina. Greatly appreciated. You're always welcome. We'll talk to you next week on Cantina Chronicles.